What's happening, guys? Hope you're having a great day. Yesterday, we spoke about a wedge on Bitcoin to say, hey, a big move's coming, right? And ultimately, these were the two plays we spoke about. We said we break out the top of the wedge. We should see a nice little squeeze. Okay, and the cool thing about this is kind of a squeeze close to the 100K. Right? This is where it's really going to just get people confused, right? If we get a real bounce, and I spoke about this many times to say, let's not judge the market too quickly, right? It feels like everyone's judging and saying it's over and we're going bear and things like that. We have not seen the bull's response, right? Again, I ask you this question. What happens if this pump, we go to 130? What does your mind then tell you, right? All of a sudden, then it's like, oh, we're bullish again, right? Type of thing. And then that's the important thing. We've had drawdown. Yes. We have a weekly stochastic RSI at the bottom. Yes. And what does it mean when we're at the bottom? It means at some point, we're going to get a couple of weeks of the other team coming in, right? So if this is what the bears have done over the last 2 months, okay, let's see what the bulls do over the next 2 months. Then we make a decision. If in the 2 months we don't make a new higher high, that's a good sign to say, okay, let's really look at the long-term portfolio and possibly we're going into a little bit more of a bear that can take a bit of time. Let's offload a little bit. But to make those decisions on a dump, right, is where the mistakes happen, okay? And then you're sitting, getting out, and you're angry because you missed the opportunity of the market bouncing again. So again, today we got some momentum, right? And I want to speak about a couple of trades that are breaking out of trends now. You guys know for me very much we've been trading. So yesterday we worked hard. I was a little bit annoyed because I set remember I told you guys on Zcash that at $550 is where I'm setting a TP on our trade yesterday. It went to 549.6. Right, so my limit order missed but as this plays out now, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is actually maybe a little bit of a bigger time frame move that we are seeing here, right? So things have slightly changed on targets of what I'm looking for this trade. So who got into this yesterday? Tell me. I'm in. Stop loss is in. Everything is in, right? The one I'm up 47%, up $12,000. Another one, I am up $12,000, right? So both of them are quite equal. The one account smaller than the other. So I'm going to speak about the next plays. But those who got in it, let me know who is in it. Okay, as today, I'm bringing you a couple of breakouts. I have some more tokens. Now, 3 of the tokens that I'm going to speak about today are spot trades. Okay, not really much leverage trades. Spot trades to make some money on the short squeeze that we are currently seeing. Bitcoin's leading the race. Altcoins are looking for a short squeeze to the upside, right? Then from there, we can take some profits on that, see where it looks like on the high time frame. So I have 3 spot trades for you guys. I also have 2 leverage trades for you guys as well today. So I gave you a very clear message a few weeks back. I'm trading the market. I'm going to make money. By the time these markets recover, I'm going to be richer than what I was before, right? That's the difference between those who quit when things get hit hard versus those who embrace it and change it. And that's the journey I want to take you guys on. So let's go through the charts. Let's look at the trades. Let's look at the opportunities and let's make money. Guys, lots of love to you all. Missed you all. Feels like 24 hours is a long time since I see you guys. We're going to change that. Sniper Club's definitely going to change that. Where's my intro video, Matt? So many. Let's go.
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like Sniper. Welcome to Sheldon Show.
Alrighty, squad. Let's trade our way back to success. Let's keep going. So again, guys, what am I doing right now? Long-term team blue chips, wherever I can buy some, I buy, right? But that's now it's like put aside, it's forgotten about, right? When I make that decision is when we see some growth in the market, then I make the decision, do I want to get out? We don't make decisions on investments in red. When something's down 50%, you don't make those decisions. You wait for some green, and then you make a decision. Okay, am I happy? Am I not happy? Am I going to hold this? Am I going to free some cash up, right? So right now, there is nothing to do. But then on the other side, what bit of money am I going to actually start actively using right now? Now, some of us have jobs that are working, right? Me as well. I got a lot of things that happen on the side. And for me, the strategy right now is 2 trades a week are doing very good for me, right? If we look again at this over here, how did the Zcash trade go? This is where we're at. So we did have a nice pump up there. So the profits were looking insane. Then price dropped off, slightly increased my stop loss a little bit, which I'll speak about now in the show, but ultimately looking good. I'll go through this now in a sec, but this is looking good, and I do have some more for you guys as well. But these two looking good, I'm happy, right? I'm happy because I am literally taking my time with trades. I'm no longer, I need to make all the money back right now, right? 4 weeks ago, these accounts dropped to a couple $1,000s, okay? And now they're starting to get up there. And what I'm realizing is the more I'm kind of just slowing down and being a bit more calm and waiting for the very clear trades, which is 2-3 trades a week, the count is growing steadily. Now, every time I'm looking for an opportunity to open up a trade, I lose a little bit of money, right? So I lose a little bit of cash, I lose 10%, 15% to get the entry. And then when it plays out, I put myself up 30, 40% above, right? And just step by step, I'm seeing the counts grow nice and strong. And I'll show you guys this over here. I just don't want to share too much here. So yesterday, remember, out of this account as well, guys, I'm withdrawing all the giveaways. So who got money yesterday? I spoke about 𝗏𝗏. I said, if you have a 𝗏𝗏 account, who got money, right? I want to see who got the cash yesterday, right? Sheldon Twitter poster. Yes, so you got, oh, did you get it, brother? You got your money. Yes, you got it. Nice, 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 nice. So again, just to show you guys here, right? It's been this growth. Now, a week, 2 weeks ago, I made a mistake. Right, I traded when I was going on a flight where I couldn't access internet, and I decided to go big. I tried to guess the bottom, right? And this is the problem with predicting versus just kind of moving with things. I took the first flight, which is 3 hours long. I got stopped out. At the airport, I got in, I got stopped out. And I just refused, right? This is where the skill kicks in. You know, the privilege that we have with trading is that if you time things better, you have a way more freer life when it comes to trading. Right? When you time it, you give yourself a bit of time, meaning that there's the trend line. It's telling me it's only going to break in 3 days. I'm not going to trade for the 3 days. I'm going to wait for that trend to break, right? Then in that time, prices are dropping and something urges in you. Maybe I should get in a little bit sooner. And that's kind of what I was doing, right? Instead of me waiting for the clear trend to break, I tried to be smart and trade in the very difficult stage. And what that did is it basically took away my privilege of making money and having a lot of time. Okay, because out of those 3 hits that I took, I ended up then losing, right? Just to show you guys here, how much? This is showing up to 60 to 70% of the portfolio in that time. Now, what that did is it took away my privilege, and the privilege was now I have to work hard to get it back, which means the time, if I just waited for the trend, I wouldn't have lost any money, firstly, and secondly, I would have traded when it was the right time to trade. But now you want to be a smart ass, right? And you want to trade before and try guess where the bounce is going to be. So I ended up doing a bit of damage. Therefore, for the next 2 days straight, I had to stay up every night and I had to build my account back. And what you could see here, okay, through that little phase there, build back, build back, build back, build back. Now I'm back up, right? But I could have done this so much smoother. Okay, but end of the day, I'm proud that I have the skill that I can build it back if I get myself into trouble. And that's why I always want to urge with you guys, it doesn't matter what your loss is, where do you finish the race, right? I got myself back up, but this for me is something that I don't want to go through again, right? And that's been my lesson. And the cool thing here is I'm starting to learn through successes versus just losses the whole time, right? And look how things started to shift back up. And you could just see the little difference that we're seeing here now, okay, is I'm slowly building my accounts back up. And you know what? Now we're sitting on $80,000. Where are we? $80,300, right? Slowly we can get this to 100, and then to 200, and then to 500, then to $1 million, and then to this. And if I look, and that's done in 4 to 6 months' time, for me, that is powerful, and that's the trader I want to be going forward, right? Instead of me trying to make this all in 1 week, if you could just start your streak today, right? And remember, out of this is a 50 to 60% loss ratio. Out of all this money growth here, I lost 60% of the trades, okay? But I lost a couple percent and my wins were nice and strong, okay? And that's the pure difference. But I would just wish upon all of you that this is what you start. You just start taking the step, maybe $20, maybe $100, maybe $10,000. It does not matter, right? You start this growth to success and you start moving through. And that's the important thing, to motivate you guys today, to say that there is something to do right now. Yes, Sheldon's back, and I haven't short-term traded in a long time, you know? And if I must be honest with you guys, timing of that dump, and specifically the 10th crash, as well as the last month, it's really hard timing life-wise for me, right? I literally just bought a house, which was very hard for me to do. Okay, but then there was a lot of stuff that needed to be done. And when my accounts, and I lost a margin of, a lot of money, okay, and business is suffering, right? I don't think you guys understand. The model that we created behind Banter is if the audience suffer, we suffer dramatically. I'm not here to make money from people that are losing. That's not how it works. That's not how the entire business model of Sniper and Banter has been built. The company makes money when people are succeeding, right? When people are winning, that's when we make money, right? But when 50% of people stop trading, 50% of income is down, right? So the timing of that wick hurts a lot of people, which hurt me a lot, right? And for me, it's a perfect way to measure. But nonetheless, okay, I had to go back to what saved my life in the past, and that's the trading. And if I can sit here now and say that 𝗵𝗡𝗡𝗥 account that I showed you now, that's on $40,000. Guys, that thing bought me curtains. It bought me solar panels for my roof. It got me to have an alarm system in my house. It got me to put a fence up so my dogs don't run out and my kids don't have access to the road. We're on a busier road now, right? It got me to have curtains in the entire house right now. I got to buy my son a bed, right? A new bed. And we got a new fridge. And I'm just saying all these standard things. The skill got me through this patch. Okay. And that's why I'm saying right now, I think we got to go back to why we started this whole thing. We started this thing not to just follow and to just make money. We started this thing to build a skill. It doesn't matter where you put in life, you can build your way back, right? And yes, I'm back. It feels like I'm back to square one where I started, where I'm not even relying fully on the business anymore, nothing anymore. It's purely on the trading, right? So let's jump in here and quickly go through the trading that we have been going through. I want to start off with Zcash. Who is in Zcash, guys? Give me a yes or thumbs up. Who took the trade yesterday? Right? I gave you guys two views yesterday. I said the first one, okay, where were we? We were here. I said the first one was a buy here, right? 502, 503. This is where we were talking. Why did we buy? Because we broke that trend, right? That was the reason we bought. But then I told you guys that, hey, price can come down, right? And I said, we actually did very good when it came at, I said, man, oh, nice, you took profits. Beautiful. Means you can have a double trade here, okay? But I basically said, guys, conservative, let's put a stop loss at 590. By the end of the stream, I was like, guys, 490 is where to put the stop loss because I know where the supports are. This is the last area here, okay? And I also said that if someone's watching the show a little bit later, okay, so we bought at 502, 503, okay? Someone watches the show later and price comes down closer to the stop loss. Many will be afraid to buy. And where I said yesterday, I said, guys, change that mentality because the lower we come down to support and you buy, the more leverage you can set without risking any more money, right? And price came down. Our stop loss, where did we drop to? Oh, here. Oh, we got in here. It came a bit lower. Price dropped to $491. Our stop loss was at 490, right? So what did I do? Let me show you what I did. So I told you guys that there was two ways I was going to play it. Either I was going to add more money to the position, okay, or I was going to close the position. These are little things you don't have to know right now, but I just want to show you this is how you advance as you start trading to get through these specific things, right? So what happened was there was my first entry. Price dropped. I never got stopped out. But what I decided to do was I closed the position and I reopened it with a tiny little bit more size here. And what it does, it didn't actually risk any more money than what I was risking, but it made my position a little bit bigger for the growth, okay? And what you could see is when I see a drop, okay, I know my stop was very important at 490. I'm not thinking about the win right now, right? I'm thinking about how can I position myself better. Okay, sorry, I'm not thinking about the loss. I'm thinking about how can I position myself better because I know if we lose 490, it's done, right? But if I can get a better entry, I can make my position bigger a little bit later on, okay? So as we drop down here, my first buy was at 502. My second buy, when I closed the position, I managed to get my average entry price at 495, right? Not only that, I managed to get more into the trade. Previously, yesterday, I was on $260,000 position size. Now I'm on 330 at a better area. Therefore, we look at where we are now. Okay, and you can see how the growth has really now started to play into play. Okay, so what I'm just trying to get to here is the more that we focus on the scenarios before you get into a trade, right, is stick to them. I told you guys if we go cheaper, I'm going to get out. And did I second guess myself? Did I sit there and I don't know if I'm going to do it anymore? No, it got there, click out, click in, get in, put your stop loss, done. Leave it, sit in your hands, right? And that's the thing here is trust yourselves. Trust yourselves. When you trust yourself and you have the confidence behind these things, all of you guys can do it. But the changing, the doubting, the this and that, those are little things that you will get better at, but those are things that are going to affect trading quite a bit. Okay. And therefore, we are now sitting over here in this play over here. So let's go through the next plays. Someone asked, is there new entries? I will let you know now. They're not as good as yesterday's entry. You need to know that. Okay. So the first thing is we popped ourselves up. I'm actually going to clear this up completely. Okay. We got in over here. Sorry, we got in over here. Okay, price shot up, came back down. Okay, where are we now? For me, I did miss the TP by a little bit, but let's speak about what I think is going to happen next. Right now, I'm in a little bit of a longer trade. The first thing I do is with this bounce that happened yesterday and where we are right now has given me a little bit more structure to the trade. So remember, yesterday I only had this much data. Just see if this is going to play. Okay, but I only had this much data. I never had the new data that has presented itself to today. Every day, new candles are formed. New part of the story has been formed. Okay, so as it stands right now, I now have this trend line over here in play, which gives me a very good idea that my stop loss should be sitting anywhere between 496 and up to the $500 mark. That's where my stop loss should be sitting. Okay, so if you go and you have a look at where my trades are right now, my stop loss is at 500 on this one, okay, and at this one over here at 497. I'm actually going to change this one because I'm comfortable with the 498. There we go. See why I use good exchanges. Look how quick it is to update a stop loss, right? But all that I did now is I missed the TP. So now I have to focus on risk again. Where can you just protect yourself in the right play? We also know that if this thing loses here, we're going down to $300, $350. There's way bigger trades there, and I might move to another token if that starts to happen. But right now, we are doing this pattern where this token is doing this, right? Which gives me an idea now. If I never got the sell here, I'm now in defense again and protecting the trade. So stop loss first. Where do I think we're going to go next, right? Let's zoom out because, again, just because I missed the TP doesn't mean that everything's a failure now. It does mean that, hey, maybe this trade's a little bit bigger or longer term than what you thought, okay? And if I look at where the next major resistances are on this trade, is the main trend from the top, okay? If we hold this today and this token remains bullish, there's a push up to this area over here, okay? That's at 550, okay? And then there's a higher trend line push as well that could take us to the areas of around $640. Okay, so when I have two scenarios now, the first one is always the one that I'm going to choose. The second one is if that plays out, this one would be great, but I'm relying on this one first. So what I'm preparing for now is at any point, I do think Zcash is going to push back to 550. If we get there and we struggle, follow me on Twitter. I'll be telling you when I'm exiting the trade. If anyone wants to join this trade right now, you got to realize you don't have as much good entries as what we got yesterday, okay? But it's still in an entry zone. So where your buys would be now would be here, anywhere between the $501 or 502, anywhere up to around the 515 will be your entry price, okay? Then you got to ask yourself the question of how much leverage am I going to take on this position? And you got to look at risk to reward. So if you buy right now, we look here, the risk is around 2.3%. So this is very much likely a spot or a 2x leverage entry that you're looking at here. If we look at where we're going, around the 550. Okay, so if you do a 2x, it's a good trade right now, putting a stop loss at around 498 type of zone. Right, you got a risk to reward of 1, 2, 3. Remember why we're doing this? Because we're basically working out that 3 losses is equal to 1 win. right? And all we're trying to do through this process is to get that stronger, right? To a point of where 5 losses is worth 1 win, which shows then that you actually only have to be a 20 or 30% accurate trader and you're making a lot of money, right? You're profitable and you are winning end of the day. So here, if anyone wants to get in, okay, I won't buy higher than $515, but here it is over here. Here is the trade. Now, let's go through the next. Oh, one more thing. When we break through the highs, so let's say that the area of 540, I will be moving the stop loss up. We've got to remove some risk. Follow me on Twitter. This is where I'll be updating you guys on Twitter on this trade. But I'm still in and my TPs are set. Now let's just go through Bitcoin for the day. Bitcoin had a nice little breakout. Okay, we are nearly at that zone over there. Okay, but let's get a nice little view on Bitcoin. So yesterday we tracked it with a flag. We broke out of the top instead of the bottom and we started to push up. Bitcoin is now approaching resistance. Okay, so if you pop this in over here, resistance. Okay, it does look like resistance is a little bit higher. So I'm probably a little bit favorable that Bitcoin will still go up more before it decides to go down. Okay, and then we're going to look at where is the nearest support, where we just broke out of. So this right now is your new kind of shorter to midterm views on Bitcoin. Okay, there's your support. And where's the next resistance? Is there at that big zone we spoke about. Okay, so the plays for today on Bitcoin, right? Bearish scenario. We get up a little bit higher to 92, 93. We come back down to 88. Then we get pushing, which means that if you're, let's say you got the Zcash. Why am I in Zcash? Because Zcash is doing a little bit opposite than Bitcoin. When Bitcoin's going up, Zcash going down. When Bitcoin's going down, Zcash going up, right? I'm kind of trading a little bit of a different coin. But if you are trading the Solanas and Ethereums and all these type of things, right? You got to remember that a lot of them are going to follow Bitcoin. So if you are not in a trade right now, okay, other than the Zcash one, I'll show you guys a few more now, okay? You could actually be patient for the next 24 hours for the short, okay? Because right now, too long, we've had a bunch of green here. But if we get up here and we break this trend to the downside, there's a lot of shorting opportunities to come. But that is saying in the next 24 hours. And this is where I came down to trading more right now is not the key. It's about waiting for the perfect trade. So the 2 trades that I see here, okay, off of this scenario, which is bear scenario, then I'm going to go through bull scenario, is to wait for the short, okay, or to wait for the long in 2-3 days. That's it, right? That is where your opportunities are right now. Now, if we go through the bullish scenario looks like this. Because remember, I don't want to predict. So when Bitcoin's going up, I'm putting in this bottom trend line and I'm tracking it. You can see it's not too far, right, from this over here. Okay, now let's go through the bullish scenario. The bullish scenario looks like this for me. It looks like from here, we're going to push through, test, and then possibly break through. That's bullish scenario. If that is so, what am I looking for, right? I'm looking for this basically alts or setups, okay, where we are just starting to break through the trends, okay? And that is the move that I want to catch. Okay, so let me show you now quickly on altcoins. Let's go through, for example, Cardano. Okay, so here's Cardano. Here's one of the trades that I have for you guys today on this pullback. This one's a spot trade, okay? Not much leverage, spot for a nice 20-30% reward, okay? But here's Cardano now. Cardano broke through the trend yesterday. It broke through the flag. It's now coming to test. And what this chart is telling me is that Cardano is going to pull into the zone, which is here between the 42 and the 43 cent mark. And from here, it's going to then go for that next push to the upside. Okay, and my targets are around 50 to 55 cents on Cardano. This is a spot trade. So the way I do this is you want to get used to opening trades in red, right? That's where you really want to open. So we let this pop. Now it's coming down to test support. This is in the redness. This is what I want to buy. Where do I want to put my stop loss, right? In the beginning, you're going to take some risk. Then you're going to remove the risk a little bit later. Okay, so right now, where's the safest place to put a stop loss is if you take this bottom trend, okay, you get a bit of an idea of where stop loss can go. So stop loss for me on this specific trade is anywhere around the 4.15 to the 4.18. Okay, your percentage meter of risk right now is around 3%. So this is not a high leverage position at all. I'll show you guys where leverage versus spot comes into play, right? This is, I got 10K. I want to make it 12K, right? I want to risk $500. Amazing. This is the type of trade, right, that you're basically looking for something like, well, maybe $1,000. I want to turn to $1,200. No leverage, none of that type of stuff. We broke out. We are retesting now. And that's why for me, I want to get used to buying support. And that is support zones over there. So here's the one trade, Cardano, something like that. And that's the play. That's how you calculate the risk. Now let's go through a little bit more of how, let's say the same setup. Okay. How do I trade leverage on this now? Now, the problem with entering leverage on that setup that I just gave you guys is risk is way too big. You're just going to give away way too much money, right, if you lose. And that's not the game here. The game's to give less. When you win a lot, right? So the only difference here is you're going to let it bounce first. Where on the spot trade, you're buying the red. For the leverage trade, you want to be 100% sure you're going to be right. Okay, so if I know that this token is going to come down, remember, it's not just Cardano I'm talking about just charting in general as well, right? I find a coin, it's broken through, higher high, it's coming down to retest now. What would need to happen for this to be bullish is to come down, turn to support, and explode from there, right? That's what I would need it to be bullish, okay? Which means the first thing as a leverage trader, I want to see that we bounce here. So go down, before I enter you on any leverage, okay, bounce. Show me that you are strong. Okay, and the best way for me to do that is to pop in the secondary trend. Show me, right? So what's very likely to play if we get bullish here, we always know that pumps start off slow and they speed up later. So if this drops here, it's very likely to go here, here, and then here. Where am I opening the leverage position? Right, I'm opening it here. The reason being is because when this breaks through here and breaks another trend here, I can put a very tight stop loss. Therefore, for leverage, I click here on the buy and I look at the risk. Oh, that's 0.3%. I can 10x this thing. I can 10x it because I'm only risking 3% of the portfolio. And my risk appetite for my trading is 3% risk, right? And that's the big thing. Versus me trying to buy now, okay, over here and putting a stop loss down here, I can't take any leverage on this thing. Okay, so both of them are equivalent to you buying this token. The one is there's no leverage because I'm happy with the 3%, so I can buy this now and be patient and go back to work, right? The other one is, oh, I want to leverage this thing, but I have to buy it at the right time that I can get a good leverage entry, firstly, okay? And secondly, my risk is low enough that I can go big. I can go more aggressive. Both scenarios equivalent to me losing 3% if I get it wrong. But the one's on a 10x and the one's on no leverage, right? So this is how you start taking trading and match it to your life. If you can see, because again, I look at this now and I'm like, leverage trades on Cardano is probably about 12 hours away for leverage on Cardano specifically that I'm talking about. Zcash, I told you it's ready right now, right? It's actually out of buy zone. No more buying Zcash. Sorry for those who missed it. We'll go through some more charts now, okay? But nonetheless, okay, you look at your schedule now and you're like, okay, in 12 hours from now, I can be looking at a breakout for leverage entry on Cardano. I got a bit of a busy day, okay, but right now for spot, there's availability. Does that match your lifestyle? If so, you know. Buy some spot now, we'll wait for the trade a little bit later, right? Make it do your life. Now, here's another spot trade. Okay, that's not ready right now. But you know when you go to your exchange here and you can say a limit order, you can already click here, okay, and you can already put a stop loss in on a limit order. So remember when you're waiting for price to come down, specifically spot and investment-wise. So for me, the token and the trade is Dash, not an investment, a spot trade. What I'm seeing here is I'm seeing how this thing had a massive rally, has now accumulated, had the bear phase, and now it broke out and it's retesting. What I see happening with Dash here is I see this trade here. I see down here, I see a push here, and then I see a drop down here. This is the trade and the money that I want to make in this play here. It broke out of this high on the left. It's coming back down to retest that high, right? I want to buy support, okay? Then what I do is I look at putting a nice little trend line at the bottom, like I always teach you guys, and I look at putting a stop loss below that. So my buy areas on Dash, right, is between the 61 and the 62.5, a little bit lower than where we are now, okay, is my buy zones for Dash. My stop loss is anywhere between 57 Okay, and this, if I look at percentage now, is this a leverage trade? No, it's not. Right? Even when we get to our box here, it's around 5% risk. Is that great? Is that cool for spot? Because what is your reward, right? Oh, I got 5% risk. What's my reward? 40%. So that is 8 times more than what your loss is worth, right? Which means 8 losses and 1 win, right? You start to get the understanding of what I'm saying, right? So again, there is a trade. Now let's go through. I want to give you guys 2 more spot trades, and then I want to go on to a couple of leverage positions. Some trades we can take today, right? The whole purpose of us kind of pivoting the show right now is let's just make some money to get a short time frame. We'll wait for the long time frame stuff to happen, right? The long time frame, you're going to find education on my other channel, okay? Because we're just going to be patient with that. But here we go. So here is a good spot trade, okay? This one is a little bit on the risk category, a little bit higher. So if I had $1,000 for spot, I'd probably only use around 20 to 30% on this trade because the growth is also a lot more, right? But I don't need to risk as much. Remember, if a coin is more volatile, you play with less, okay? Less is more, right? If it's more slower and more thing, you can play with a bit more cash. Start become money savvy and money management over your own accounts, okay? I'll go through a bunch of your guys' tokens now for sure. Okay, Beam. Beam is one token that is showing a lot of strength. I don't know what it is, but gaming is showing strength. So this has broken out. I won't buy this thing more than 0.0036, right? 3637, basically where we're at now. A good stop loss. Let's just put the stop loss in over here. Okay, is around the areas. Let's just see the risk. This one's around 10%. This is what I'm saying. If you lose less capital, think about it. If you have $1,000 spot portfolio and you only use 20% of that money, and the risk on that trade is 10%, you're actually only risking 2% of the spot portfolio. And 2% falls under my risk category per trade, right? So I can risk 10% risk on this trade, but I'm only using 20% of the money. Therefore, I'm only using 2% of the actual portfolio risk, right? Over here. So this for me is a good one. Beam is something that is waking up, going against the market, and I am seeing a strong push to mid-range, which is the 0.055. Okay, so I'm risking, if I look to buy this, I'm risking around 9 to 10%, and my reward, I'm looking at around 55 to 60%. Okay, spot trade. The other one, which I would say is an investment entry, not really spot, is something is happening with Superfarm, guys. Superfarm's on the verge of breaking a trend, and if you like gaming and you want to have a little bit of gaming portfolio for the long term, I think Superfarm is one of the best in the industry, but I also just want to be alert with you guys here. We've seen a lot of red here. We're just starting our first weekly green. We're about to break daily trend. This could be a nice rally back to $1. So this could be a nice 4x. A little bit longer term, a little bit view, right? But Superfarm is looking really, really, really good. Okay, now let's jump into the next positions. What's our Zcash doing? Just hovering around. No, not that. Okay, where are we? Just hovering. Okay, I'm happy with that trade for now. Now let's go through some opportunities. Let's see what trades are available. Not much on Solana. I'm actually doing a bunch of free roaming trading with you guys now. Look for some trades. No, so these are all good, but you've missed. This I'll be waiting for shorts, right? I won't chase things that have kind of already started to move aggressively. A token like this, which is Aptos, okay, I would put in the trends. It's not ready right now, but when that breaks, there is a big trade coming here. When this eventually breaks here, there's a big trade like that going to happen. All right, that's a nice move. So not right now, but I put that in as a nice little reminder for if I want to. Remember, always think about the future version of yourself. Okay, so for me, in 3 days' time, I know I'm going to want to make money, right? So let me do the charting now for 3 days' time. So when 3 days comes, I know what I'm trading versus me trying to figure it out in 3 days' time. Right, there's always something for you to do daily. Prepare for yourself a little bit later on. Okay, I'm going to go through your guys' charts now. I see you bringing them. I want to see. Okay, let's go through. Let's see if there's anything on Ondo. That's already had a bit of a push. Render's not looking the greatest. Algo, just to show you guys here. So let's quickly zoom out. Okay, so big long-term trend here. So that means when this bounces, it's very likely it's going to go there. Okay, so I get a bit of an idea. Okay, now the next thing that I do is I say, okay, I got an understanding of the reward. Now let's go see if the risk matches the reward, right? So what I do now is I say, okay, we're here. I know that this at any point is coiling up to go there, which I like that. Okay, where can I get a good entry over here? And this actually looks like it might be a leverage entry when it's ready. Okay, what are we currently doing? So let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay, we are making a bull flag. Why am I saying that? Is because we've broken up and now we're going at a slight angle to the downside like this. That for me is known as a bull flag. Now, I don't want to predict that, but I can see that that's the pattern. If I'm looking to trade, it's the perfect pattern I'm looking for. Okay, because technically what a bull flag does is you let it pop, then it goes like this, and then when it breaks out, it goes for the next leg. Why I like that so much is because when I enter is the best time for me to have low risk when I do so. Because if that breaks out, where's the clearest place I'm putting a stop loss? Over there, right? So instead of me buying here and having a huge stop loss, okay, I can wait for it to accumulate, break the trend, then I know where to put a stop loss. Okay, so if we go back over here now, guys, are you enjoying the shows? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Do you like this? I'm just going full tilt trading in front of you and education. Let me know. Okay, where something like this now gives me way less risk than what I had on the last. Okay, so if I look at this now, I looked at where it's going to go. Okay, so what I do now is I say, okay, that's the trend. Right? Is it a good trend? It's a 3-touch trend, which is decent. So something like this now, let it play, let it play. When it pops, stop loss here. Okay. Am I going to trade leverage on this thing? Yes, I am. Okay, how much leverage? Look at your risk. What's your risk? 0.49%. Okay, what's the risk structure that you've put on your portfolio, right? No, I don't want to lose more than 3% per trade. Okay, so 0.5 times what equals 3%, right? Times 6, right? Around 6 to 7. So that means on that specific entry, 6x leverage, your stop loss is in play, right? And you're risking 3%. Okay, if your category is 5%, remember what I told you about the 2 strategies. If I'm going more aggressive, okay, I'm using less money. So if I have $1,000 for leverage and I'm going to go more aggressive strategy, okay, I'm only going to trade probably $100, $200 at a time. The rest I'm leaving as backup. Because remember, I must not forget what happened on the 10th, right? The 10th of October brought us the biggest crash ever. And again, I say this. I'm not angry that I lost money. I'm angry that I didn't have enough money to buy at those levels. I'm angry about. So if you're going to go more aggressive, remember, you're using leverage to play with more money anyway. So don't worry about putting more of your money. Use more of the exchange's money, okay? Because even like I explained here, the beautiful thing about leverage is that the leverage is calculated off of your entry and your risk, which means that if you are present when a good opportunity comes, you're going to get the best leverage trade versus those who are going to kind of wait for the market to pop. Remember, when the market pops, your risk goes up dramatically because where are you going to put a stop loss, right? And if we go back to this over here, and this decides to go up and go a little bit, and then break, and you manage to put a stop loss at 0.2, guys, you can 20x this thing, and you're only risking 4%, right? So for me, why do I need to use more of my money when I can play 20 times more than I got? All that I'm going to do is get good entries with low risk, right? And that's the big thing. So if I'm going more aggressive, again, I'm trading 100 to 200. Therefore, my risk appetite per trade can be 5%, 10%, because I have a bunch of backup money. But if I don't have much time and I want to take one trade a week, okay, and I want to be more conservative, okay, then your risk appetite's a little bit less. It's 2-3% per trade, okay? And it's also, again, it can be 4-hour time frames, whatever it may be, okay, but your leverage is going to be determined off of where you're buying it and where your risk is going to be, okay? So again, very, very, very important. And then again, just to add to you, remember when I said I'm trading 10% or 20% of my portfolio, right? Per trade, because I'm going more aggressive, for example, okay? Let's say I get that trade really right, and this thing pops, and it gives me huge space, and then it goes sideways and it wants to break another trend. Then I can look at saying, okay, let me go take another 10% of money and put it into this, make the position bigger. Let me hold it for more. These are all things they called success problems. We'll get to the success problems. Right now, we're getting through let's get in, where no one's kind of getting in, right? So something like this again, here's a trade that'll be ready in a couple hours. And if it drops, this is the problem that I did at the airport. It's going to bounce. Lost money, lost money, lost money. What was I supposed to do? Nothing. Let it do this. Let it do this. That is when I'm supposed to trade. Why am I trying to guess bottoms here? Why am I trying to do these things? That's where I lost, literally. Let me just stop sharing screen so I don't give away my information. People email me and stuff when they find my emails and stuff. Let's go back here. No, this one. 2 secs. Okay. Bum. That's why I did that to my account. I was just impatient, right? I was just impatient and I thought I was cool. And this market humbles you very quickly. So if it drops further today, keep that same trend line in. It will bounce, it'll go there, it will settle, and then it will break through, right? And that is the pure thing. So as you're going through, let's go through and see if there's anything else. There's a little bit of a bull flag here on HBAR, right? It also broke out of here recently, so there's support. So that's a decent one, but that's hours away. So that you can give yourself a bit of time. Let's see on 𝗚𝗟𝗧. There might be a little breakout coming here. If it starts to break here, cool. Bottom trend line, stop loss over here. When it breaks, move stop loss up. Keep the trend at the bottom. Ride it to your TP. Or when it breaks the trend, get out. Right? These are all certain things that play out. Maddie, can we get some coins, please? Let's go here. I want to go back to... Where's my trade at here? How are we doing here? Okay, we're there. Guys, remember, just a couple of things, shout out here. Open up a 𝗏𝗏𝗱𝗏 account in the description, right here or on the new channel, right? Go and sign up for Sniper Club. Remember, club is free, guys. You like all these trades, you know it's cool. So the new club, we're busy allowing people in now. I'll say in the next 2 weeks, everyone's in, right? We are going to let you do in batches though. But you know what's cool? We have live trading session for US Open, London Open, Australian Open, all the time zones, live trading sessions. There's rooms of people trading. You're not alone. Want to start this trading journey? This is where you go. Then secondly, with the 𝗏𝗏𝗱𝗏 link, guys, there's 2 people yesterday that were not using my user ID. They did not win, right? I think it was 1 or 2 people. The rest of the people, they got their money. You could see very clearly, got their money. Amazing. I'm going to be giving away more money. Profits, just hope Zcash pumps now. And I got a lot of money to give away. I'm here to support you on your journey, right? Open up a 𝗏𝗏𝗱𝗏 account, deposits, and that qualifies you for any wins. Is that me on the profile picture? Like right now? Did you just open up how did you make me a profile picture so fast? So fast. Wow. Very cool. Very interesting. Okay, Maddie, let's get some of people's coins. I just want to see if there's any others. I know someone said 𝗟𝗧𝗏. Let's see. Okay, so with this specific token, okay, like, yes, it's red. That's where we want to pay attention to buys. I agree, right? But now let's just structure this thing a little bit. Let's look at the top trend, right? There's the top. So is it going to have a huge breakout yet? Not yet, right? There's still space here, right? But can it pop from here to here? Yes, it can. Okay, what does that kind of look like? 4%. If that suits your strategy, amazing. Okay, but if for 4%, you got to enter this thing with quite low risk. So what we do now is we zoom in and we look at an entry, right? We look at where we can buy this thing. It actually might be in a small entry now. Okay, so remember, when I'm going to take a trade, you know what's been helping me quite a bit lately? I want to be as bearish on this thing as possible. So I want to go long now, but before that, let me look at everything bearish first. And if my bullish outweighs my bearish, right, I'm quite convinced. So let me show you where this gets confusing. And this is why I'm explaining this to you guys now, because I'm pretty sure it happens to a lot of you outside of the show, right? We are breaking here, as an example. Remember, the candle hasn't closed yet, but we're breaking out there. Okay, but on the other side, okay, we just lost the trend. Okay, so what that means is we've gone a bit bearish, but now we're also going bullish, right, in a certain view. But we've got to remember that the resistance is here. So when you see something like this, you're actually right to thinking bullish, but you've got to remember that because there's resistance ahead, this can take some time, right? It means that this can go here, then there. And this can end up being you holding a position for 12 hours to a day. Is that worth 4%? That's what you got to ask yourself, right? Or, because you got to remember, it lost this. So it will take time for it to get through this first. So it's very likely to go here, then here, then here, right? So that's the question you ask yourself. If it's for a higher time frame trade, the only time I'll be buying this is if I'm accumulating for long term. But where the high time frame trade comes, this thing's telling me by Friday, Saturday. That's where the trade's at. If I go in now and I do want to buy this, what is my risk? Risk is quite low, to be honest. Let's see what the risk percentage is here, because you'll put a stop loss basically under this, around 1%. Okay, so not bad. But guys, if I wanted to make money today, I would rather trade this token next week. And not to say that it's not going to explode and stuff, but just me as a trader, I want to win. If I want to win, it's not the sexiest one for me right now. Okay, I might be wrong. Okay, but for me, the Zcash one made more sense. Okay, and waiting a little bit for the next one. That's for me personally. But you get what I'm saying, how you chart it, how you kind of make these decisions. I just got to remember that we lost this. And every time we lose this, we've seen in the past what kind of happens. Right? Keep that in mind. It will take a little bit of time for this to play out. I don't have much time today. I want to win. I want to make money pretty quick. That's why I'm going a little bit more with Zcash. Okay, another token that's moving really nicely is CAS. See, CAS is moving really nice. Okay, so just remember, when did the pump start? That's when the pump started. This is why I'm saying track coins. When they're doing this, that's where, again, where do you buy? You would have bought here, you put a stop loss here. So even if you entered here and got stopped out, and you entered here and got stopped out, right? You lost 3%, you lost 4%. Boom, you are up 50%. So you lost one. This one win way outweighed your losses. You are now a profitable trader. And that's amazing. What's this thing order? I see this thing's also showing some strength over here at the moment. So guys, big thing for you to do today. Join club firstly. Secondly is a couple of trades. Let's go through our Zcash trade again. I just want to see where are we with this thing. Kind of hovering. Okay, if it loses here, guys, stop me out. We would want to lose very minimal. We'll get it later. And we might even change to another token. But for now, this is where I'm bullish. All right, I'm expecting at any point now a drop off, but we should have a pop up to these areas here. We'll see where we're at tomorrow. Follow me on Twitter. This is where I'll be updating you guys over here. Bitcoin, 2 scenarios. You can see I'm tracking to the upside. The bear scenarios, we go a little bit higher, drop. So you got a choice. Maybe there's a couple of shorts. Maybe there's a couple of longs available here. Okay. If you missed the short and we're here, please don't go short. Wait, rather prepare for the long. Give yourself a couple of hours or day to get the long, right? Stop trying to chase and rush things. The more you trade desperately, the more mistakes you're going to make, more money you're going to lose, right? Bullish scenarios, we go here, here, here. As you can see, I have no idea which one's going to happen. But my trend lines are going to tell me what to do next. No more predicting, right? Let's trade the market and let's make money. Love you guys a lot. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.